Chapter 5. Oliver's life changes. "You are the thief," said the policeman. "No, no, stop. I work at the bookshop and I saw everything," said another man. "This boy is innocent. The two other boys stole the handkerchief." Oliver was free, but he was very weak and fell to the ground. The old man was very kind and said, "Oh, the poor boy, look at his white face. He must come home with me." He called a carriage and took Oliver to his house. The old man's name was Mr. Brownlow. He lived in a very nice house in a quiet London street. When Dodger and Charlie Bates arrived home, Fagin asked, "Where's Oliver?" "The policeman took him away," said Dodger. "What?" cried Fagin. He was furious. "Oliver can tell the police about us. We must find him." Then a strong man opened the door and entered the room. He had dirty clothes. He was about 35 years old and had angry eyes. His name was Bill Sikes. He was Fagin's friend. An old dog followed him. "You are angry today, Mr. Sikes," said Fagin. "Give something to drink, Fagin," said Sikes angrily. Fagin told Sikes about Oliver. "We must find that boy." Sikes said, "I have a plan. Listen carefully." When Oliver arrived at Mr. Brownlow's house, he was very ill. He almost died. For many days, he lay in a clean bed in a sunny room. Mr. Brownlow's housekeeper took care of him. Her name was Mrs. Bedwin. She and Mr. Brownlow were very kind to the little boy. There was a picture of a lady near Oliver's bed. "What a beautiful lady," he said. "But her eyes are very sad." When Mr. Brownlow came to see Oliver, he said, "Mrs. Bedwin, look at the picture on the wall and look at Oliver. The head, the eyes, the mouth, they are same. I can't believe this." He looked at Oliver and then he looked at the picture many times. When Oliver was better, he sat on a chair near his bed. Mr. Brownlow had tears in his eyes when he looked at him. A long time passed and Oliver was finally well. Mr. Brownlow and Mrs. Bedwin loved little Oliver. Mr. Brownlow bought him new clothes. Oliver was happy. He liked his new home very much. One day, Brownlow asked Oliver, "Do you like it here?" Oliver said, "I am very happy, sir. You are so kind to me. I want to stay here. Please don't send me away." Mr. Brownlow said, "Of course you can stay here." Mr. Brownlow showed him his library. Oliver was interested in the books. "I want to send you to a good school, Oliver. Then you can read these books." One sunny day, Mr. Brownlow said, "Oliver, can you please take these books to the bookshop? Give this £5 note to the man in the shop." "I am happy to do this for you," said Oliver. He took the books and walked happily down the street. Nancy was standing in a small street. When he walked into the small street, Nancy saw him. She put her arm around him. "Oh, my dear brother, I found you. You must come home with me now. You are a bad boy." Oliver cried, "Help! Help!" Just then Bill Sikes arrived. He said, "It's young Oliver. Come home with us. Mother is waiting for us." Sikes and Nancy pulled Oliver to Fagin's shop. When they arrived at Fagin's shop, Charlie Bates took Oliver's new clothes. Sikes took the £5 note and Fagin took the books. "You can keep me here all my life," cried Oliver. "But please return these books and £5 note to Mr. Brownlow, please. He mustn't think I am a thief." Oh, yes, he must, said Fagin. Everyone laughed at Oliver. Oliver jumped up and ran to the door. Fagin hit Oliver with a big stick. Nancy pulled the stick out of Fagin's hand. She threw it in the fire. Don't hit the boy again, she said. Sykes pushed Nancy to the floor and Fagin laughed. Then they locked Oliver in a dark room. It was night time at Mr. Brownlow's house. He and Mrs. Bedwin waited for Oliver all night, but he never came home. Mr. Brownlow was very sad and worried. Where was Oliver?